Back in New York, it's been a really busy summer. We've been traveling. We've been down south to the Adirondacks, New England, Texas. I went to a magic convention in Dallas, and also to look at the paintings of Charles Russell up close. We've been to California, Oregon, Nevada, and to a few of the national parks out west. And it always makes me think of Albert Bierstadt in relation to those parks. I proposed to my wife in front of a Bierstadt painting called The Rockies here in New York City. But it's good to get away and give my things a chance to dry and come back to them with fresh eyes. Monday morning is my favorite time of the week, so I'm ready to get back to work. One of the fundamental tenets in my work has always been the relationship between the pictorial space in the painting and the physical space of the viewer, which is one reason I put so much emphasis on the sticky, obdurate properties of oil paint. I think sometimes stuff should precede ideas, or ideas can be born of stuff. And one of the ways I like to explore that notion is through very simple verticals and horizontals. The vertical always referring to the solitary human figure, the horizontal always to the landscape. And those detonations that occur over and over and over again is one of the ways that I compose a picture. I think it was Leo Steinberg that said something to the effect of the vertical and horizontal is a way of charting the living coordinates of the realm of the picture. As painters, our entire world exists within those four corners, and this is one of the ways to utterly possess that world. This is interesting if we consider some of the Camden Town paintings of Walter Sickert, in which we see one figure standing, gazing at another figure reclining. One figure in the light, one in the dark. One hard edge, one soft edge. And then there's the added kink of us gazing at someone else, and the notion of desire that ensues, salacious desire, although I don't know of any other kind of desire. I like to consider this in relation to Manet, in which some of his paintings with multiple figures will feature one looking one direction, another direction, and then a third straight at us. And I think that's such a beautiful thing, the way he breaks the fourth wall. And no longer are we outside looking into a window, but we're part of an experience. We're included in that perceptual envelope. And there's an embracing of artifice and of multiple vantage points, which I think presages some of the concepts that would later become Cubism. Although I always say that Tiepolo was one of the first to bring some of those ideas to bear that would eventually result in Cubism. Another painting I dig when thinking of vertical horizontal is called the Bodmer Oak of Monet, which is here in New York City at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. It's one of my favorite paintings in the world, and I won't even describe it. I'll just have them put a picture of it up so you can see it. It's a stunning meditation on vertical and horizontal in the context of air and light and a specific time of day, and the kind of moral rectitude that can accompany the simple contemplation of landscape. It's as if time itself becomes a tangible source of pleasure. And instead of slowing down time, he's speeding up experience. I find that with really good paintings, I'll often come away with my sense of experience having been accelerated rather than decelerated. And I'll need an Advil. I've always thought this painting was about me, and I don't know what else I could possibly say about it. The notion of speed is very important to me when composing a painting. The speed at which the eye moves through certain passages of the painting. One example would be here. I'll put down a line that's very fast. You can see it just rips through the space, connecting one area, the blue, the light cerulean blue up top, down here to these yellow greens. And then what would be considered a slower line would be something obviously more like this, something more denuded, something broken, something a bit more percussive. And it forces the eye to sort of labor and sort of dawdle along, which allows it to notice other things, like the green to the right of that. Painting to me is a political act. And I'll go more into detail about that statement in another episode, though. But the idea that you're manipulating and subverting the way someone sees the world, you're trying to affect the way someone sees, to me is a political act. And there are hierarchies at play, and there are ways of manipulating through composition what the eye sees, or what the eye sees as more important. I'm sitting on the floor to show you the area underneath where I make my paintings. It's about 6 inches deep in oil paint, and this is only a couple of months. I go through a lot of paint. I'm a firm believer that stuff can generate ideas, that stuff can come before ideas in a painting. If you're an architect, obviously, and you're building a hospital, ideas first, and then the stuff, then the materials. But not here. I like the notion that the paint itself can offer up a certain resistance that the viewer has to get around in order to get to the concepts. I've always worked under the notion that the world around me is unknowable. And through the gradual distribution of marks and the modulation of color and process, scraping and dragging, I can distill something concrete from something transient. I was born and raised in the South, and when I do something, I'm up to my kneecaps in it. I'm completely immersed in it. We used to dig for clams in the inlet there, and we would sink up to our kneecaps in mud. My studio reflects that. I don't know any other way to paint than to completely immerse myself in the materials. I think it was Philip Guston who said that a painter should never want to be right. And I understand what he means. The notion of doubt and uncertainty and indecision, I think, are vital elements in a painting. And they seem so contemporary. And that's often how I know I'm getting close to the end of a painting. Picasso said that a finished painting is a dead painting. And I often stop just before I'm finished, leaving that little bit of doubt and uncertainty right there on the surface for the viewer to engage in. It seems to me more true and more human and a hell of a lot more fun.